Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're here taping at the Hollywood Museum in the heart of Hollywood, and we're in the historic Max Factor building. Waiting to be profiled are designer Taryn Rose and puppeteer Christine Papalexis. Orthopedic surgeon, designer, entrepreneur, award winner Taryn Rose was born in Vietnam and raised in Southern California. She earned a BS at UC Irvine and an MD from USC School of Medicine. She's the founder of Dresser.com and Taryn Rose International. Your father was a doctor.
Yes.
So did they expect you to be a doctor?
Of course. I was born to be a doctor because I was also the firstborn child.
No matter what you are, you have to be a doctor.
Exactly. Well, you know, it's classic. I'm practically Jewish. You got to have a doctor, a lawyer.
Is that how Vietnamese are?
Yes, we're very similar.
And did you ever practice with your father?
No, we did not. He was in pathology, and I like living people who get into crashes and have broken bones, because I went into orthopedics.
You did, but you also went to SC.
Yes.
Isn't there a good med school in Irvine where you were?
Yes, but I wanted to be up in Los Angeles. My parents were in Anaheim, and
you wanted to get away.
Yeah, I wanted to get away.
So tell us that story then. He says you're the firstborn, you have to be a doctor. Did you want to really be a doctor?
I was just raised that way. I can remember being 7 years old, and my sister got a cut on her finger, and I was told, "Oh, you're the doctor. Go patch her up."
Just at that point, like
yes, it was just ingrained in me, and when I got not only a biology, a BS from Irvine, I also have a philosophy degree from the School of Humanities from UC Irvine as well, because I really wasn't sure if I wanted to go into law or medicine.
Oh,
and
I wondered.
When it came time to decide, I just thought, well, I'm actually really good at the sciences. It just comes naturally. And in fact, my daughter is the same way. She got an award for biology at school, and I said, what do you think it is that makes you so good with it? And she's like, I don't know. I just take the test and
she
I get A+. Yeah. So I was the same way.
Is she the firstborn?
She's the firstborn.
Oh, maybe that's like generated into her.
Exactly. But I'm certainly not like my father, who said, from the minute you're born.
You haven't said it?
No, I haven't said it. And she's actually nauseous at the sight of blood, so I know she'll never go into medicine. I'm hoping that she'll do something like engineering and then an MBA, being, the mama here. But so anyways, I just said, okay, I'll just go into medicine, thinking that it's the,
Was it easy for you?
It was easy. So it was the path of least resistance. So, the family was happy. They were thrilled. And I actually went in with the idea that I was going to become a dermatologist and start a cosmeceutical company, because I worked at Estee Lauder during college.
And you knew how to put stuff together, or you saw how she put stuff together.
Right, and I was really good at beauty products, and I really enjoyed it. And that was sort of the first entrepreneurial bug in me. So I thought, well, I'll just go into medicine and do that.
But what a good role model. She was a fantastic person,
Oh,
great
yes.
entrepreneur, wonderful with the cosmetic lines that she did.
Right.
And she lived for so long.
Yes.
So maybe something worked. She did. Did you ever practice then?
Well, I finished my boards, and then I launched my company right after.
Oh, you did? So your
Right.
first shoe, your company was Taryn Rose
Yes.
Shoes, I guess. I
Yes,
always thought
footwear.
of shoes,
Right,
footwear.
right.
So what was the first shoe? Because I thought that was really beautiful.
Oh, the very first shoe was a loafer that had like a gray flocking suede on it. It was a very unusual suede.
Where'd you get it?
And in Italy.
Oh, you'd had.
Yes.
Were you there shopping?
No, what happened was, so I decided that I wanted to start a shoe company, and I didn't know anyone in the shoe industry. But I was a world-class shopper.
And
After a call, I'd head straight to Neiman's or Barney's, and that was my relaxation. And so I asked my salesperson at Barney's, who would tell me that she had these two friends coming over from Italy every August, because that's when they take their vacation.
Yes, the whole month, 6
Right.
weeks.
Yes.
8
yeah.
weeks.
That was a month. And so I said, hey, do you think your friends know anyone in the shoe industry? And luckily, one of them owned a shoe factory, and the other one owned a leather tannery.
No.
Yes.
Wasn't that funny?
It was kismet, right?
It was.
So basically, I went to Italy, meeting these two friends of a friend, and that's how I got launched. And
So
they
you
introduced me to.
You didn't have to know how to construct a shoe.
No,
They
knew and they taught me what I would need. I'm a very fast learner, and that's part of why I love being an entrepreneur, because I love to learn new things. I'm very curious, and being an entrepreneur allows me to go into different fields and start from scratch, and I build upon what I did last, though. Nothing is ever thrown away. Nothing is wasted.
So when you went to Italy, that was your beginning.
Yes.
Forget orthopedics, forget working with the
ortho,
hospital.
Ortho was my plan B at that point.
But you used it in your company.
Of course. I mean, that was my whole concept.
When you talk about layering things and never throwing anything away,
Right.
that experience gave you the award-winning shoe design.
Yes. Well, during my residency, I actually did a study about how to make more attractive diabetic shoes, because people with diabetes have something called neuropathy. They can't feel their feet.
Right.
So they have to have special shoes, but they tend to look really ugly. And so I felt that if I designed a better looking shoe, people would be more apt to wear it and decrease their risk of ulcers and amputation.
Were you still in school at that time?
Well,
Or
I
you
was in
just
residency.
remembered you were in residence, so
Yes.
you were dealing with these things.
So I was dealing with all of that, and I was trying to come up with practical solutions.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm very pragmatic that way. So based on doing that study, I did know about shoe construction and how to create a shoe.
How the feet would fit and all that
Exactly,
kind of thing. Because
exactly.
everyone says Taryn Rose shoes are the most comfortable that you could wear. But they don't say they're the most beautiful.
Well,
and I think this
look
one
at that.
is the
Yes,
most beautiful.
Yes.
This is such a beautiful design.
That design actually was in the Metropolitan Museum calendar one year. They had a shoe calendar.
So I am
And
right. It is
yes,
beautiful.
It is. What's hard is that, well, for one thing, I've sold the company in 2008. So I don't control how things look anymore. And, I am sad that they haven't really progressed. I think there's great things that you can do to make a shoe look more beautiful.
But you didn't have a chance, I guess, because you were like working at it and then you sold it.
Yeah, well, I did it for 10 years.
You had a lot of celebrity clients who
did.
had feet problems too, I guess. Huh?
Or women who didn't, who just wanted to be comfortable. Like Sandra Bullock bought my shoes, and why am I blanking out her name? Oh, Angelina Jolie wore my shoes when she was pregnant.
Oh.
So Gwen Stefani, she bought 10 pairs at Neiman's.
And I was just going to say, where did you sell them? How did you get into stores then? Here you are. You're in Italy. You're designing shoes. You come back. How do you get into stores?
Well, I went to my favorite salesperson at Neiman's.
Again?
Yeah, because they have the best shoe department, and I asked her, who's your favorite shoe salesman person, the shoe rep.
Shoe rep.
And she referred me to this wonderful lady, and she said, honey, you can't afford me. I make $150,000 a year base salary, so you're just starting out. Why don't I just give you some names of people you can contact? Which was really sweet of her. And I was very lucky. Back then, Nordstrom's
They had
buyers
great shoes.
were on the selling floor.
Ah.
They weren't up in corporate. So I
So
went
they
down.
knew what their clients were,
Yes,
and they knew what.
yes, it was a much closer relationship. And so I just went down to the department and was looking at everyone's name tag until I found this woman. And Sungcho Rothi was her name. I'll never forget her name. She was my very first buyer, and she gave me my first order.
So I think you look for the opportunity and seize it.
Yes.
Or you make the opportunity and seize it. I think that's very entrepreneurial. And that's,
Yes.
for me, is what I love, that someone can see something and make something out of it.
Well, you know, it's all about execution. You know,
It's also moving and
yes.
seeing things and being aware out of the box.
Right. You know, what do they say? 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration.
Yeah, because
you know,
you got to
is
work
hard.
at it,
yeah,
too.
you have to work hard. Nothing will fall into your lap.
Exactly.
And
Did you then design children's shoes?
no,
Never.
no.
Okay. And then did you branch into accessories?
I started going into handbags a little bit to go with the shoes, but by that time I was in the process of selling my company.
You were at that point.
Yeah.
So then, did we move then into Taryn Rose International?
No, that was it, Taryn Rose
That
International.
was Taryn Rose,
So I had
okay.
Taryn Rose International for 10 years.
Okay. Then we're moving
So-
into dresser.com.
Right. And so after I sold the company in 2008, I took time off and spent time with my children, because one of the reasons I needed to sell was because I was traveling 220 days out of the year. That's the side that I don't think people realize.
Yeah,
is
what were you
the hard
doing
work.
that? As a shoe designer, why do you have to travel that much?
Well, I went to Italy at least twice, maybe sometimes 3 times a year, to do the collection.
Yeah, I see.
Then I went to New York 4 times a year for market.
I see.
And I visited a lot of stores. I was very hands-on in visiting my
And
clients.
did they promote you? Taryn Rose is
yeah.
here. You're doing that. Yeah.
Right. So I met the end consumers. I met with the buyers. So it was a lot of running around. And of course I did all the press too, which, you know, I joke that I've done every early morning show in America. I can say,
And now there's
where
an
am I
afternoon.
today? It's Good Morning Arizona.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
5:30 in the morning, you know.
It's true. Good
So,
morning.
Right. But, you know, that's how you get to 40 million in sales, which I took for granted. You know, I thought,
You were working. Was it just piling up behind you probably? Where you were like working?
Yeah, I was just running too much.
Too much. So here we are at dresser.com.
Yes.
And what does dresser.com do?
Yes, Dresser, DRESR.com is my new brainchild. And what I saw was that we need a whole new way to shop online, because you can't get service online. Like, when you walk into Neiman's in Beverly Hills, you can ask someone, what should I wear for my interview with Joan today, right? And get some feedback. If you went on
What
NeimanMarcus.com,
color, whatever, right.
If you went on NeimanMarcus.com, you're just left on your own. You're basically thrown in a warehouse full of great products, but there's no one to help you. So I thought there was a way that we should be shopping online that's revolutionary. And so how I'm doing that is I'm getting stylists to put together looks, and we are tagging them. So if you're looking for a job interview outfit, you just
that's
type
interesting.
in. So you get all these outfits.
Like depending on what job you're going to, too,
Yes,
probably.
exactly.
Yeah, it gears it to
By type of industry.
and
Or
categories.
what do I wear for a date? What do I wear for a wedding? What do I wear for
an afternoon tea.
Yeah, brunch, Mother's Day brunch, or
Really?
casual.
So
Yeah,
that's the thing you put in?
Yeah. Or you can say, how do I wear pearls? Or how do I wear leather leggings?
So who puts this all in? Somebody has to put all that
so
information in.
stylists. So stylists, there's lots of professional stylists out there. There's 20,000 just in a official organization, plus a lot more that, you know, they don't belong to the organization. But they need a platform where they can use their creativity to scale to lots of people. So it's sort of like on YouTube, you would have someone a makeup artist who was really good. Prior to YouTube, she had to work one-on-one, right?
Yes.
Now with YouTube, she does a
makeup
show, and she's able to sell advertising off that. We're similar as a platform where you can be exposed to millions of people.
Wow.
And you make commission off what you sell.
Oh, so
as a
they
stylist.
will. So that's
Yes.
why the stylist wants to put
Oh,
their
yes.
input in, their
Right.
input.
Well, do you know Uber?
Yes.
Okay. What Uber saw was there were a lot of people with the potential that weren't that was not being
sitting
used. Yeah,
around,
sitting
yeah.
around. Well, I figured there's a lot of salespeople in department stores with time with nothing to do, and all they're thinking about is clothes, right? Whereas I'm a
Yeah.
busy professional woman. I'm not thinking about.
You don't have the time.
Right. So why not match us together, but in a way where I can just go in the middle of the night and go, okay, what
What am I going to do tomorrow morning?
Right.
Or do you have to buy? Or you can buy it online too?
you can buy, yes.
You
And
buy?
we have a way where you can buy everything in one
Oh, the
one
whole
cart,
unit?
even though it's from multiple stores. So you don't get
Oh,
stuck being head to toe, because that's not really realistic either.
Yeah, that's fantastic. See,
Thank
you
you.
came up with another great idea. There's always a good idea. I thought Uber was such a good idea.
Right,
You know,
right.
there's always a new thing to launch. And I'm so glad you came and told us about it.
Thank you very much, Joan.
Thank
It's
you.
my pleasure.
Thanks, Taryn Rose. And don't go away because we'll be right back with puppeteer Christine Papalexis. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're here at the Hollywood Museum in Hollywood, and I'm with actress puppeteer Christine Papalexis, who is the former president of the LA Guild of Puppetry and curator of Puppetzilla, Puppet Slam in Los Angeles. And is Puppet Slam or Puppetzilla only in Los Angeles?
No, actually, there's puppet slams all over the country. In fact, they're all over the world. The Puppet Slam Network is an organization started by Heather Henson of the Henson family, and she is promoting puppet slams all over. A puppet slam is an evening of short-form puppet theater. So puppet artists will come up with short acts, like 5 minutes or under, just something, a little gem of puppetry. It could be any kind of puppet. It can be shadow puppets, hand puppets, tabletop puppets, rod puppets, big puppets, small puppets. Sometimes people use a monitor to interact with, and that's also a form of puppetry.
Where do they hold it? Where do you go to see it?
In Los Angeles, we've been having puppet slams at the Bootleg Theater in Hollywood.
Yeah, on Beverly Boulevard.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's where it all takes place? It's because it's a big black box, right? And then do you just separate your puppets, or what do you do? How do you do it?
We have we set up all the stages because there's usually, there can be as many as 10 or 15 different acts. So each act has their own little setup, and it'll be off to the side, and then we have an MC, and while the MC is talking, then we bring in the next act.
Oh, so Puppet Slam is like going to the theater. To see
It
different
is,
pieces.
yes,
It is. It's
yes.
a theater piece. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. So you've worked in films with puppets, right?
Mm-hmm,
And
yeah.
what have you done yourself?
Myself, well, I worked on a lot of movies with big monster kind of puppets. I worked on Alien Resurrection, so I puppeteered both the big mama alien, the queen alien, as well as the baby alien.
And how do you puppeteer that? You're inside
There's,
of it?
well, there are some puppets that are basically suits. They're like a body puppet. But most of the ones that I worked with are hydraulic puppets. So there's very small things that operate a huge big, and then there's cables, there's animatronics, there's all sorts of puppets that are used in movies.
But do you have to be like a engineer to know how to do that stuff?
Well, in working on those kinds of movies, there's a lot of different people that work in different aspects of the puppet itself. So usually what the department that I would work in would be in fabrication, where I'm working with the foam, the fabric, the finishing work of it. And
So
then
you're building the puppet.
So sometimes I get to build the puppet and also work it.
Okay, so building a puppet, but you're talking about monsters. Are they all built like that?
Well, they used to be built like that a lot. Now they're also integrating a lot of computer, generated.
Like
So there's a lot more of, but there's also puppets that are still being used kind of in conjunction with computers.
So we talked about the theater You can use any kind of puppets in the theater?
Well, in puppet slams, people come up with amazing ways of doing an act. It's like they have an idea of something that they want to perform, and like a friend of mine did, our current president of the Los Angeles Guild of Puppetry, he decided to do something with the Spider Olympics. It was after the Olympics, so he created these little spider puppets that had to go through their different acts in the Winter Olympics. And he used pipe cleaners, he used all different sorts of things. So, you know, the imagination is endless.
Well, tell me, what does a puppet have to be? What is a puppet? Because we've got all these different iterations.
It's true, and we have lots of examples right
do.
here. You know, it's an interesting topic that I discuss with many people. What is a puppet?
Right.
Because anything can be a puppet, really.
When you said you're using pipe cleaners and
anything.
foam and styrofoam.
Yeah. And the definition most people come up with is that it's any object that is manipulated to create a performance. It can be a shoe, it can be another person, it can be a little fuzzy character, it can be a piece of leather turned into a shadow puppet, it can be something that you operate on an overhead projector. I mean,
Does it have to have strings?
No.
Doesn't have to have strings.
No.
Does it have to be like, say, the sock puppet that you have?
Doesn't have to be a sock.
It doesn't have to be a sock. It can be a hand.
It can be a hand. It can be, yeah. I mean, you can use popsicle sticks, but if you're manipulating it and telling a story, then that's a puppet.
I see. So we talked about theater, and one of the things that was so interesting is the difference between the European sector and the American sector. There's a difference there, isn't there?
There is. There's, yeah. I think, I don't really have proof for it, but I think that in Europe there is more of a tendency to see puppetry as a legitimate form of adult theater. Whereas in this country, I think partly because of the genius of Jim Henson and his influence for many generations, that people think of, when they think of a puppet, they think of a cute furry hand puppet. And it's for kids.
So we were talking about back to Europe, because I know in Italy there's a different kind of a marionette, and they always have strings. And then in London, when they did War Horse, they called that horse a puppet.
Yeah.
Well, it was manipulated, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it was huge.
Huge. Yep.
And
brilliant puppetry. If you ever have a chance to see that show, brilliant puppetry.
Well, tell me why it was so brilliant. I saw it. I thought it was fantastic twice.
I mean,
but the person is inside of the horse.
There's a person inside, and there's also two people on the outside manipulating. There's the person working the head of it. It's because you stop looking at the puppeteer and you just see this puppet come to life.
This horse.
It's the magic. Then that's the magic of really great puppetry.
So, and then tell me a little bit about famous puppet people. Are there famous puppet people?
Well, they're famous. They're famous in the puppet world.
I mean, other than Jim Henson.
There's Jim Henson. There's Obraztsov, who's a Russian puppeteer, much revered in Russia and that part of the world.
And what does he do?
He does. He originated a very simple form of puppet. It's just a hand with a ball on it for a head. And out of that, I mean, it's brilliant. He creates life, creates relationship with the other hand with the ball on it. It's brilliant.
Does he talk?
I think he mostly did his puppetry. I'm not even sure if he's
Do you have to talk?
No.
With the puppet show?
No, a lot of...
Is a ventriloquist a puppet and has a puppet?
Sure.
Is that a puppet?
Yeah, that's a form of puppetry, sure, yeah.
Okay. Tell me some other famous puppet people.
Let's see, some other famous puppeteers. There's, let's see. Well, of course, there's Frank Oz, who worked closely with Jim Henson, who also was Yoda in the Star Wars movies. So if you're looking at movie puppets, there are some famous people there.
That's a puppet? You call that a puppet,
Yoda?
Yoda?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yoda was a hand puppet, actually, in the first versions of the films.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he was a hand puppet, much like Miss Piggy.
I see.
Yeah, same puppeteer. So, yeah. In Europe, also, there's, let's see, there's Albrecht Roser, who is no longer with us, but he was one of the most brilliant, German or Austrian, I can't remember, but brilliant with working marionettes, and he would teach.
And those marionettes have strings.
Yeah, so it's similar to that. The way he would start training his students, though, he He would teach them by having one string and one ball attached. And the puppeteers would have to tell a story with that.
And
they
the
would have
ball
to
would
create movement out of it and create a whole story with it.
You just did this. Does that create the movement?
There's
like
movement.
A string?
Is it a story? Does it come to life? It depends on what your intention is.
And do you write the story?
I have with my own puppetry. I've done 2 myths. One is a Slovakian tale from from Slovakia. Sorry, called The Witch's Egg, about a little girl and a witch puppet. And the other one is Amaterasu, which is based on a Japanese story about the Japanese sun goddess.
And did you make the puppet yourself?
Yeah.
You do. And how do you make a puppet? And what kind of puppet did you use?
Well, for those, I didn't bring an example with me, but they're all made out of found objects. So they're pieces of metal, and the witch's skull is it's a skull made from a raccoon, and her arms are sheep shears, and there's forks and
How do you
all
move
kinds
them?
of things. With strings, it's
Oh,
similar,
there's
similar to
strings.
that one.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's talk about this one in the back.
Yeah,
What is it?
that's a marionette.
Marionette.
Yeah, like Pinocchio.
Okay, and it's all manipulated from the top of the
back.
stage, right? Or does it?
Well, this style, actually, you would be standing right next to it. Like at Bob Baker Marionette Theater, that's how they work as well. I don't know if you've been to Bob
Yes,
Baker's.
of course.
But yeah, yeah. So they perform also right out
On the stage, and they
on the
perform.
stage and perform on the floor.
And then this?
These are shadow puppets from Indonesia, and
I'm going to hold this. They're kind of heavy, aren't they? Are they
well,
leather?
Not really. They're made of leather, and the way they're done in Indonesia is there's a screen with a flame, and so the puppeteer would sit cross-legged below it with the behind the flame, so that the shadow would be shown.
So
there.
you wouldn't see how beautiful this piece is.
You know, apparently with the
painting.
Indonesians, they make them beautiful so that the puppeteer has something beautiful to look at.
Oh, because they're really painted beautifully,
Yeah.
but all you would see is the shadow.
You'd see, but
of
the
this
shadows are
movement.
incredible because the flickering of the flame makes the movement of it, as well as the puppeteer moving it and telling the story and singing with it.
Okay, and tell us about this one.
This is a sock puppet made by my friend Lois.
This is a sock too?
Yeah, that's a sock puppet as well, and it's
A
just
real sock?
yeah.
This
I
is
used to
a
be a
pair
sock. Yeah,
because it's
hi.
the same sock.
Same sock. Hi. Yeah.
And then
So you
you
put
have a
your
little
thumb in
stick.
here.
I don't have a stick.
That's okay.
Oh, you
but
put
you
a
put your thumb in there and put the rest of your hand on top so that you can open and close the mouth. Hi, Joan.
Okay.
Hi,
Okay.
Joan.
And then tell us about these.
These are
so
called.
cute.
These are.
Wait, how did you get these arms on them?
Stitched them on.
You just sew these little arms on? Okay.
yeah.
And this one is great.
Thank you. That's this is Tina. She's.
Did you make her?
Well, I actually adapted her. I got her, and then she wasn't a girl. She was just a little alien, and I turned her into a girl. Hi, I'm Tina. How are you?
And you made her funny little eyes?
How are you?
I love your jewelry, Tina.
Well, thank you. Yours is pretty nice, too.
Thank-
But I have pearls. I'm very classy.
Yes, you
I'm a
are.
classy-
And then oh,
Please, be careful. Don't hit my face.
so what else do we have? My gosh.
Well, I think that's pretty much it. And then we have the marionette in the back, which is, there's a very typical number a lot of marionettists do with a balloon, where the marionette has a balloon and it goes through its antics and fun, and then it pops the balloon in the end.
The marionette
So that's
does.
what that's for.
Well, we had a whole world of puppets with us today, and I'm so glad that you came, Christine. Thank you very much for bringing this whole set.
Thank you. I hope that some people come to the Puppet Festival this year.
It'll open their eyes in any
Yeah.
event, right? And
And-
thanks for being with us today. Keep writing to JAQUINN1@AOL.com. See you next time.